Hey guys, Pastor Rob here. I got a question for you. Have you ever asked this, where was Jesus when? Maybe it went something like this. Where was Jesus when my mom died? Where was Jesus when my wife walked out on me? Where was Jesus when I got the diagnosis that nobody wants to get? I think for many of us in our lives, we face a point where we ask the question, where was Jesus? Well, if you've ever asked that question, I want to give you two pieces of encouragement that I've found very beneficial for me when I've asked myself that question in my own life. You know, a few years ago, I experienced a ton of loss in my life. My grandparents, who were like my second parents to me, passed away within a month or so of each other. My wife's sister, who was early 30s with a 2-year-old daughter, she passed away of breast cancer very suddenly. And all of that happened within a matter of a couple months of each other. And I found myself asking this question constantly, Jesus, where were you when all of this was going on? So I've been looking for an answer for this question for a long time, and here's what I found. I found that Jesus was running towards me when it felt like everything around me was running away. One of my favorite passages in all of the Bible is a passage about Jesus with these two sisters, Mary and Martha. Now, Mary and Martha's brother, whose name was Lazarus, was sick, and Lazarus was one of Jesus' best friends. In fact, the Bible tells us that Jesus thought of him as a brother. So you know they were really close. So Lazarus gets really sick, so they send word to Jesus that, hey, you got to come here and you got to do something about this. And here's what's so cool about it. If you read the story, you'll see it for yourself, and I encourage you to do that. It says that when Jesus finds out that the one that he loved is sick, he looks at the people that are around him and he says, we need to go there. Now, here's why that brought me so much hope and encouragement, and I hope it does the same for you as well. Because you see, Jesus doesn't run away from the pain. He actually runs towards it. Lazarus, this incredible person, this guy that he had this close relationship with, was really sick. And it would have been really easy for Jesus just to say, oh man, I don't want to engage with that. That's going to be too painful. But he doesn't. He says, no, we need to go there right now. So Jesus goes. And it says that it took him a few days to get there because he couldn't just hop in an Uber and head over to the next town. He had to walk, and so it took him a little while to get there. And it tells us that by the time he got there, Lazarus had actually died. And so when Jesus gets there and he sees Lazarus' sisters who are in the midst of grief, in the midst of loss, he says, hey, where is Lazarus' body? And his sisters bring him there to the tomb, the place where they buried Lazarus. And here's something incredible that happens. It says that when Jesus got to where Lazarus' body was, it says Jesus wept. Now, that verse is one of the shortest verses in the whole Bible, but in my opinion, it's the most powerful. And here's why. You see, Jesus grieves with us in the midst of our pain. Where was Jesus? He was right there with us, grieving in the midst of our pain with us. You see, I think when we're faced with a difficult circumstance in our life, whether it's a broken relationship, whether it's the loss of a loved one, the loss of a job, whatever it may be, our tendency is to feel incredibly alone and isolated. But when I read that story, when I read that account of Jesus, I'm incredibly encouraged because Jesus himself, God with skin on, runs towards our pain and he grieves with us. So where was Jesus when all these things were happening? He was right there with me, and he's right there with you right now in whatever circumstance that you're in. So have you ever felt like Jesus wasn't present What have you done in order to find him in the midst of your difficult time, in the midst of your difficult circumstance? I'd love for you to share what you've done to find Jesus in your life in the comments below, because you never know what your experience can do to help someone else who's feeling the same way that you're feeling. So leave a comment below, or maybe you've got a question that you'd like us to answer. I'd love for you to leave that below as well. And be sure to subscribe, be sure to share so that we can continue to build the community here as we grow together. Thanks, guys. Catch you later.